Assalamualaikum, my name is Ambok Fairuz, and now I'm going to present about the calculation in determining gain or loss arising from the second acquisition of share in XL Berhad. On 1st January 2021, which means current year, Great Berhad acquired another 20% of ordinary share in XL. The consideration transferred on second acquisition is 67.2 million. To get gain or loss on second acquisition, the consideration transferred must be compared with the fair value net asset of subsidiary, which is XL, on second acquisition. So let's discuss on particular of fair value net asset of XL. First, ordinary share capital, which remain 300 million, ARR at DOA 72 million, pre-retained profit which taken from Sochi on balance BD brought forward of retained earning, which is 119.4 million, and the last particular on fair value net asset of XL is surplus on revaluation on land, which is 3 million. So the total is 494.4 million, but we have to portion with the percentage acquired on second acquisition, which is 20%. So we will get 98.88 million. So 98.88 million is also need to be located in SCI column, indicates decreasing in non-controlling interest. So to get gain or loss on second acquisition, the consideration transferred 67.2 million must be deducted with the fair value net asset of XL, which is 98.88 million. So we will get negative figure 31.68 million. It indicates the gain on second acquisition. The amount gained on second acquisition, 31.68 million, will be recognized on SOPL under other comprehensive income. The amount 31.68 million and 98.88 million will be transferred to consolidated statement of changes in equity.
I am Nur Hajar Yudani, binti Che Yussoff, and now I'm going to proceed with the consolidated statement of changes in equity for the year ended 31st December 2021. Now I'm going to proceed with the GRP column first, and then we'll be forward to GARR column. So for the first row, retained profit as at 1st January 2021, we're taking it from working one, which amounting to RP 539.1, RP of Big Berhad 182.4 million, less with the pre-RP amounting to 100 million, will be equals to 82.4 million, and times the controlling percent of Big Berhad 75% will be equals to 61.8 million. So for the RP of XL Berhad 119.4 million, less with the pre-RP amounting to 117 million, will be equals to 2.4 million, and then times with the controlling percent of XL amounting to 60% will be equals to 1.44 million. As for the acquisition during the year, there is no RP of Good Berhad, so the total RP brought forward equals to 602.34. Next, we add the profit for the year, 108.35 million is taken from the previous SOPL. For the changes in shareholding amounted to 331.68. Next, we last with the appropriation of OST for Great Berhad amounting to 42 million, which came from the total of dividends 60 million, less with the PST 18 million. As for the PST, it is amounting to 80 million. So balance as at 31st December 2021 of GRP will be equals to 682.37 million. Next, for the GARR column, for the first row, retained profit as at 1st January 2021, also taken from the working one of GARR. ARR of Great Berhad is amounting to 510, GARR of Big Berhad 108, last for the pre-ARR amounting to 108, GARR of XL Berhad minus with the pre-ARR amounting to 72 million will be equals to 0. Last is for the Big Berhad, GARR of Big Berhad equals to 24, last with the pre-ARR of 24. So the GARR brought forward will be equals to 510. Next, add with the revaluation during the year of 0.7 of good berhad times with the 60% and plus with the 24, we will get total 24.42, and we'll get the balance as at 31st December 2021 for the GARR amounting to 534.42 million. Next, I will pass to Shakirah to explain the NCI column. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Shakirah binti Mazalan and I will continue the presentation for the consolidated statement of changes in equity for the NCI column. First, for the retained profit as at 1st January 2021, we will get 772.86 million. And the amount is from the working one, which is the NCI at DOA. So this is the working one. First, for the bid berhad, the total fair value net asset is 1,258 million will be multiplied with the 25%, which is the non-controlling interest, and we will get 314.5 million. Next, we add with the post-retained profit that we calculated just now, which is 82.4 million times with the 25%, and we will get 20.6 million. Next, we add the non-redeemable preference share capital, which is 240 times with 100%, and we will get 240 million. So the total NCI for bid berhad is 575.1 million. Okay, next, for the XL berhad, the total fair value net asset is 492 million multiplied with the 40%, which is the non-controlling interest, and we will get 196.8 million. Next, we add the post-retained profit that we calculated just now, which is 2.4 million times with the 40%, and we will get 0.96 million. So the total NCI for XL berhad is 197 and 66 million. Therefore, the total NCI for both subsidiaries is 772.86 million. Okay, next, for the acquisition during the year of XL berhad, the total fair value net asset is 175.3 million will be multiplied with the 40%, and we will get 70.12 million. So this amount should be included in the consolidated statement of changes in equity. Okay, so let's continue with the NCI column. After the retained profit that we calculated just now, we add the profit for the year, which is 43.77 million. This amount is from the consolidated statement of profit or loss. And we add with the revaluation during the year, since there is a revaluation during the year, which is 0.7 million times with 40%, and we'll get 0.28 million. Next, since this question is vertical structure, so we need to less the indirect CT of 45 million. Then we add the acquisition during the year that we calculated just now, which is 70.12 million, and minus the changes in shareholding since there is a second acquisition, so the amount is 98.88 million. Okay, next, we less the appropriation of ordinary share dividend and preference share dividend. First, for the OSD. Since Great Berhad acquired 75% of Big Berhad, therefore the non-controlling interest is 25% and will be multiplied with the ordinary share dividend, which is 30 minus with 14.4 million, which is for the preference share capital. So we will get 3.9 million. Next, from the XL Berhad to Great Berhad, the non-controlling interest is 20%, so we will multiply with the 50 million and we'll get 3 million. Next, from Good Berhad to Big Berhad, the non-controlling interest is 20% and times with 6 million, and we will get 1.2 million. Then we minus the preference share dividend, which is 14.4 million. And at the end, we will get the balance as at 31st December 2021 for NCI is 720.65 million. So that's all for question 1D. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Hanis Khairina and I will continue the discussion with question number 2. So in the context of MFRS 10, Consolidated Financial Statement, and MFRS 11, Joint Arrangement, the phrases joint venture and joint operation is referred to the two separate but related type of business partnership. So the party to the joint operation arrangement have right to the asset use and are liable for any liability incurred as a result of carrying out the activity. So each member in this arrangement is actually responsible for accounting for their proportionate share of the asset, liabilities, income and costs in accordance with their rights and duty under the arrangement. On the other hand, participants in joint venture have right to the net asset of the arrangement in which they are involved. In this question, Nur Berhad and Shinji Berhad have assumed joint control of F and E Berhad after purchasing shares totaling 50% of the company's overall voting power, and as a result, the group consolidated financial statement must be prepared in accordance with MFRS that Nur Berhad has the power on making key decisions on an important business project as a result of the joint control between Nur Berhad and also Shinji Berhad. Furthermore, Nur Berhad now has supervisory tasks to play in monitoring the project progress and obtaining approval from the board of directors on this issue. This implies that actually Nur Berhad has controlling share in the project and has been involved in its development. Last but not least, according to their rights and obligation, both companies are required to account for the proportion of the project's asset, liabilities, revenue, and costs that correspond to their respective interests. So for Nur Berhad, the company should recognize its shares of asset, liability, revenue, and expenses in the consolidated financial statement. But for Shinji Berhad, the company should recognize its share of asset, liabilities, revenue, and expenses in separate financial statement.
Thank you, Hanis. Now we moving on to the next question, which is question 4. My name is Masitah binti Rais, and I will explain the relationship between Plankton Berhad and Sandy Berhad. According to MFRS 128 Investment in Associates and Joint Venture, an associate is an entity which the investor has significant influence over the investee if the investor holds directly or indirectly 20% or more of the voting power of the investee, but less than 50%. Since Plankton holds directly 25% control over Sandy Berhad, which fulfills the presumption of the significant influence that the investors need to have equal to or more than 20% voting power of the investee. Plankton also has the right to participate in the policy-making process and interchange of managerial personnel of Sandy Berhad, but has no control of those policies. This means Plankton has evidence of the existence of significant influence. Therefore, Plankton has significant influence over Sandy Berhad. The cost of investment of 8.5 million will be accounted in O&O Berhad Consolidated Statement of Financial Position as an investment in associates. Hence, Plankton Berhad should use an equity method for investment in associates. There is no mandatory consolidation of an associate company's activities. The parent company, O&O Berhad, will only include its share of the investee's profit or loss as a separate line item in its statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. If there is any distribution received, such as dividend received from associates, it will reduce the carrying amount of the investment. In the end, the adjusted carrying amount will appear in the parent company's statement of financial position.